Hey, it's profit loss time, and it comes around too quickly each time. I'm like, yeah, I didn't do any of those things I was planning. As always, this is the quick version first. If you haven't seen one of these before, I'm trying to get 5 revenue streams up and running, and I have a rolling monthly average target for each one. I'll go through the numbers first, and then I have some thoughts about them afterwards that I will share with you. So the 5 are digital art / NFTs, and I have a monthly average target of £3,000 a month, and this month was £887.67, which is actually a small surprise. YouTube, a monthly target of £1,000, optimistic, and it was actually £5.23. Prints, again aiming for £1,000 per month, and a big fat 0 on those this month, or January. More on that in a moment. And the penplot target is about £800, and actually had £226.73 come in from selling penplots. Finally, FX Text, which is a bit like a blogging platform that people can give you tips for, an optimistic £100, which was kind of just thrown in there for fun, £14.27, for a total income of £1,133.90, roughly. The expenses were £94.72 spent on getting prints made, £48.46 for the new servo for the drawing machine, which I've already made a video about, £92 on the shipping for those 2 pen plots that I sold, and that's via DHL to America, and £23.42 on the monthly Shopify fees. And of course, my wages of £2,400 for a grand total of £2,658.59, giving us a profit of minus £1,524.69. Okay, on to the longer version. If we take the NFTs and the wages out of the equation, then we made £246.23 from all the not digital art stuff, which is £12.36 less than our expenses if I exclude the wages. So on that front, only materials versus sales, we would have made a small loss. I have some thoughts and feelings all around this. The first is I really want to get like a printer for the studio, one that can do up to A2 prints, so I can do my printing here, the most of it. It's a big upfront cost, but in the long run, I think it'll worth it and ultimately save me money. That aside, before I got into NFT digital stuff, I was selling quite a lot of pen plots, and I just started moving into prints, and all my focus was on 1, working with the drawing machine and then creating art with it, and 2, taking photos and videos of it and constantly pushing those to Instagram and Twitter, and that's what was driving all the sales. I ultimately want both the print and the digital and this YouTube to all equally contributing to the pot. I still think of myself as primarily a physical print artist, but at the moment the digital is subsidizing the print side. And that's a decision I made to, in the short term, use that digital income to allow me to make videos and tutorials and try to put useful things out into the world. And it is doing that. How useful they are is questionable, but we're getting there. However, the income isn't very smooth or consistent. The cash flow has a spike, and then I kind of cruise along on whatever the runway that gave me is. What I'm aiming for is for, again, 2 things. The first is I want to complete the series of drawing machine tutorials that I've had on the back burner for ages, and I keep saying that I'm going to do them. If I get those done, and then there's something that will live out in the world and will be useful and continue to be useful, then I'll consider that a success of the structure that I've been building to support that type of thing. The second is I'm still aiming to do an Artblocks curated drop, which, if all goes well, will give me a nice buffer of income to get back to doing all those other things that I want. But that's still a way off, and there's no guarantee that I'll be accepted. But with that as the goal, there are certain stepping stones that kind of get me there. One of those is a feral file group project, which is around in July, which is 5 months away, and that will probably give me a few months runway to get here to 70s pop. But each of these months here, February, March, April, May, June, means money going out, my wages and all sorts of unrelated expenses. The next is the 70s, 80s, 90s pop projects on Artblocks. So fun fact, I've already had 5 drops on Artblocks, and the next one will, obviously be the 6th, which means I'll be one of the most persistent or consistent, however you want to look at it, artist on that platform who's never actually applied to create it. I've never even gone for it. Because there's always been this idea of doing the series with a bigger drop and then a bonus pack smaller drop. And those allow me to try out ideas and thinking that I want to see if I can implement for a next one. So those give me a chance to evolve both the art and the code. So we have over here 90s pop and the bonus pack for 90s pop just before 70s pop. And then 80s pop Roxy somewhere here. And then also an FX Hash collaboration project, which will also be a little bit of income. So if I look at these as stepping stones as getting to 70s Pop Deluxe Art Blocks project over here, then there is this gap here. The only thing I know for certain is this feral file in July. It's a little bit scary because if I miss any of these stepping stones here, it kind of throws everything else out. But at the same time, these things are in my schedule and everybody has been kind in their continued support of me and helping me with these things. So I'm actually not that worried when I think about it. If we stick to the plan, we should land on the 80s Pop bonus pack and over here, the 90s Pop and the bonus pack here, getting us all the way to 70s Pop Deluxe, which will hopefully be created. But if not, then it'll just be in Presents or a section of art blocks like all the other ones. The nice thing about that is that then the series will be finished and I can move on to the next thing that I'm already thinking about, but I've sort of had to put to the side at the moment. Anyway, that's the year-long plan, and we're just here. We've just seen the end of January, so let's see how it goes. So this is why the pen plots and the prints and the smaller FX Hash drops are useful, because each time £1,000 or £500 comes in from one of those, it just nibbles away a little bit of these monthly expenses and allows me to get a little bit further along to this and then ultimately this. So if these don't quite come off in the right place, we should be okay. Ultimately, it's all about balance, the work, the mental health, doing fun things, like this. I really enjoy doing this, and then focusing on the deadlines for things like this to help manage the cash flow to get us from here over to here. Anyway, I think I went on a little bit more than expected. The other thing I wanted to mention is about the pen plots, and that's that during January I did start putting them back into the shop, sort of a couple of a week. Of the last 4 I added to the shop, I posted about one of them to Instagram, and I linked that post to the online shop, and I didn't even mention the other ones at all. So have a guess at which one sold. Yep, it's the one that I posted. So this doesn't mean that every one that I post will automatically sell, but it does seem to point to the concept that if I don't tell anybody about any of the other things, then they don't magically sell themselves. So I think it's a good message for all of us to learn from this month, that if you want to sell something, you tell people. It's as simple as that. Right, February, we're in February now. It's another short month, so I'll see you again very soon in one of these. It's also probably the first fairly clear month with a specific target in mind, the 80s Pop Roxy, and I'm really looking forward to kind of focusing more on that. Anyway, all right, peace and bye my